Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about how to create more self-esteem. So this is something that I have been personally struggling the most time actually of my life, and I read few books and I implied what I read, and now I have really solid self-esteem. So let's see how to do that right now. So if you take a look at this diagram for a moment, this is maybe very confusing to you at first. So I will explain it to you. So here we have, as you can see, here we have, here we have experience. Okay, so something happens to us, right? And we experience something through our five senses, right? And to make sense out of that, we have to create some sort of internal representation of that experience. And this mostly happens unconsciously, right? And after we created internal representation of that experience, we categorize it or label it and create our databases. So we label it, for example, you go to a concert and you say, yeah, it was really good, and maybe other person says at the same concert, yeah, it was, I didn't really like it. So as you can see, experiences are subjective, right? And once we have enough of these experiences, we start to think, how do these experiences relate to ourselves? What do they say about us? And then we start to make larger generalizations called qualities, right? So let me show you an example of how this happens. So let's say that you like to draw as a kid, and you had enough people said to you that you are very creative. So you had enough of these experiences and you go, oh, I possess the quality called creativity. That's nice, right? And let's say for maybe a negative quality, right? Someone maybe said to you one time, you are really mean, right? And maybe you didn't think you were doing anything mean at that time, right? But you had enough people say to you that you are mean, and after that you start to think, oh, I collected enough of these experiences, I am mean, right? And our self-concept starts to form when we are at a really young age. This is why it's very deep, unconscious, and very strong. And when we collect enough of these qualities, which are caused by experiences, we start to shape our identities. We start to shape our self-concept. So self-concept is, you can say, really large generalization about who we are. So your concept or your self-concept is a concept, right? Or an idea about who you are. It is a belief that you cannot escape, right? Which makes it most important than your other beliefs. That can be beliefs about others or your beliefs about the world. So your self-concept is your biggest belief and affects everything that you do. It goes everywhere and affects everything that you experience. And finally, there is a feeling, right? How we feel about ourselves. So this is self-esteem. If you feel good about your self-concept, your self-esteem will go up, right? And if you don't really, let's say, like yourself, right, your self-esteem will go down, right? Up. So this is called logical levels. This was created by Steve Andreas. You can look him up if you don't know who it is. He was a genius. He passed away a few years ago. And so these are the logical levels, right? And let's see. So for example, right, how do you create self-esteem? I will go straight to the point right now. I wanted to explain to you so you can get little perspective of how this all happens unconsciously. So if you have your certain value, let's say kindness, right? You you think of yourself as a kind person, right? And you value that quality of kindness, right? So that's a quality right here. And every time that you act kind, you feel really good, right? And your self-esteem actually goes up. So that's how you know when you value a certain quality, right? When you feel good about yourself after doing after having a particular quality, right? So let's say you think of yourself as a kind person, right? And you do something kind and your self-esteem goes up, right? So, and let's say that you do something counter to being kind. Let's say you do something mean. You feel really bad about yourself, right? And the worse you feel about yourself, that just indicates how important that quality is to you. So you actually violated that quality, right? Or the value of being kind. And the worse about and the worse you feel about violating that quality, right? That just shows how important that quality is to you, right? That means that you value it, right? And you may be now asking, well, how do I find my other values, right? It can be really hard, if you just start doing things and, oh, this doesn't make my self-esteem go up. So there is actually a more easier way to do it. So how do you find your values, right? So let's say you have a certain goal that you want to achieve, right? Let's say it is, I want to buy a new car. Okay, that's great. That's a great goal. And you may now ask yourself to find out what values will you get when you will have that car. Because nothing has any inherent value, right? So when you say I want a new car, okay, yes, you do want a car. You want to make yourself maybe easier if you're traveling to a job or something, right? So you don't want the car for itself. You want the experience that that car will give you, right? You want to fulfill certain values. So let me show you how this works. So you have a goal. I want a new car, right? So you start to ask yourself, what will that car do for me, right? And maybe you say, oh, it will save me enough time. It will save me time when I go to work in the morning, right? I maybe have to wake up a little later because I don't have to go to a bus or something, right? And okay, that's great, right? And okay, so what will that do for you? And you start asking these deep questions, and it will become harder and harder because these are really deeply subconscious things, right? And you can ask yourself, what is important to me about that, or what will that do for me? And you will get to you won't have maybe these particular right values, maybe you have something else. So value is actually anything that you value, right? It doesn't have. So value, definition for the value can be like, so value is definition for experience that you find really really compelling, right? Or the experience you like to have more of. That is I think that's a value. That would be definition, right? And when you come to really these like values, inherent values, like you can't touch love, right? You can't touch creativity, or you can touch freedom, right? This is something that comes from you, right? And you may now think, oh, so a car will actually, okay, that's a car. Oh, a car will actually bring me these values, right? So how is that? Like, I don't really understand it. You may ask yourself, right? Oh, values. Sorry. And so these are inherent values, so you can touch them. You can touch the car, but you can't touch these values, right? And one way to explain it is, so you may ask yourself, because if you put like a car, that car that you want in particular, to maybe other person, they will not, maybe they don't project the same values to that car as you do, right? Because the car itself doesn't have any inherent value, right? You project that values that are already inside you to that car, and you say to yourself, oh, when I will have that car, I will have these values, right? And there is nothing wrong with having a car or making more money. I'm just saying that every value that you project to other material objects are already inside you. So nothing has any inherent value. Just remember that. And I hope this was helpful. Make sure you do this exercise right here. So take one goal that you want to achieve, elicit the values, so you will see when they start maybe repeating. You will get love or passion or creativity. And if you have a goal and you ask yourself what is important to me about that, and if the first thing that comes to your mind is like, I don't know, love or something, you should go deeper than that. You should ask yourself, what is important to me about love, because usually when you get that type of answer really quickly, it may not be really accurate, right? So go really deep with this exercise, right? So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to suggest maybe any video ideas, make sure you put them down in the comment section. This is my Instagram account if you want to check it out. I make like quotes, pictures with, and if you want to check it out, the link will be in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.